What's going on, Legend? But welcome back to Beyond the 90, and we have finished 6-2. Again, you've probably seen the match. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts, and some of the slight tactical tweaks, some of my behind the scenes, etc. Again, 6 goals. Yes, again, it's a game where both sides, if you're uber negative, you're going to be, are going to keep moaning because it was against a league, it's a championship opposition. We should have beat them. But for those that are more positive, and I want to kind of concentrate on the more positive things, so I'm on that positive side of things, but it's about keeping it realistic as well. Um, but there are things to build on, and 6 goals. I mean, let's be honest, we didn't even have that many shots on target in the game. We didn't pepper them with opportunities, and a few went in. We scored some really good opportunities. What does that mean? Going forward, that means that we're going to do more and more of this. Um, and if this we keep playing like this, we're going to score more goals from more opportunities. Yes, it was a second string QPR team, and yes, it wasn't brilliant at times. But look, after 5 losses in a row, we needed something, and we just didn't. We did. I would have loved a. I predicted beforehand it would be 2-0 that we'd win. 6-2 was completely threw me off guard. Let's get into the initial formations because I think that's where a lot of the things started. Let's go on to this one. If I share my desktop, um, so going back to this one, actually, let me go to this. So we've got this is how we set up. So we had Vardy. So again, it's a full strength team. It's very similar to the team that set up against what was it called, Aston Villa. But the difference is Buonanotte came in ahead of Jordan Ayew. And then we had again Weeks and Samori, I believe, starting last game. Then we had again Cody Fast. Fast came in. Justin Fast came in ahead of Vestergaard. So again, he went pretty much. Give me your thoughts in the chat. I think that's the strongest team that we've got available without injuries. I think Ricardo comes to the side. Indeedy's a really interesting one. Does Ndidi come into the side? So again, because that's something that we could talk about. Winks, we'll get into the individual players in a little bit. But would they drop in Ndidi here if that was Ndidi, and then they drop Samori up, play up high? Because them two seem to work quite well together. And the problem with Samori is his defensive capabilities, where he can drop a bit of a stinker, and we'll come on to that at times where he loses concentration. But in general, this is how we set up. The difference is a slight tactical tweak that we did. About 5 minutes into the game, I noticed we saw James Justin going higher, but we saw normally what happens is that Christensen will join in with the attack, and he'll join up, and especially against a couple of other teams, I think specifically Brighton, he was joining up here with the attack. And that meant that we pushed fast across or Vestergaard in this, then we just Cody, and then Justin is the back three. In this game, we flipped it. And we pushed Justin up, we put Cody across, we put Fass across, and we put Christensen back as holding. And I think this reflected, if I pull this up, this reflected in the match average player formations as well. Now, I'm only going to do the first half because obviously second half we started to change players. And spoiler alert, if you've probably not seen already, James just actually scored twice. So we'll get into the goals and analyze them in just a second. But I was thinking initially, have we gone a bit too strong? So let's go on to that one. Have we gone a bit strong for this? So that's how we set up. So we had look, we have Cody, we have Cody here. We have actually look how deep Winks is actually dropping compared to Samore, which I was surprised at of average formation. This is, I think, overall in the game, not for the particular minute. Then we've got see the back three of Cody dropping deeper, allowing then cover for Justin. Then we had Fuss here, we had Christensen here, and then we've got again. We'll get into the other bits later, but it was interesting they made that tactical switch. This is something that I think they'll do going forward, and what it does is that James Justin against Aston Villa was actually pretty decent. He just dropped an absolute stinker. And the problem is people are going to remember that, A, and B, that is what lost us the game. Sorry, lost the game. It made us go from 1 point to zero, as I mentioned last time. Those individual errors need to be cleared out of the game. And that is exactly what happened in this game. We'll get into that in a bit. But I was thinking, have we gone a bit strong? I would have preferred, because this game, let's be honest, doesn't really matter. the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, I don't care about this season. Please just keep us safe. And I thought Rude would do something similar. He would try and change the game to the point where we are again trying something, and in reality, where he would bring in young players, um, and then give them an opportunity, like we've seen with a couple of other players we'll get into in a second, and then and then rest everybody or rest the majority of the team so that when we come to Crystal Palace, because it's only on Wednesday, they're going to be fresh, they're going to be ready for it. He did the opposite. It was a high risk strategy. And why do I say that? Well, I can understand we're trying to build confidence in the team. For me, it's like if they get an injury, let's be honest, our squad is we've lost some key players. Fatawu gets into this team, Ricardo gets into this team. Um, at the moment, and them two are big players. I'm trying to think of who else is injured that could drop straight into the team. I'm probably forgetting somebody at this moment in time, and I'll remember it later. But it's important to note that those players need that will get straight into the team. I don't want to lose a Jamie Vardy at 37 years old. I don't want to lose a Samore or a El Khanous if we get an injury to them, or even a Stolarczyk, let's be honest, if we lose him, yes, with Mads out, we've seen the difference between that and the third keeper, or fourth keeper, sorry, and probably I would say Ibson's our third best keeper at the club. That for me, it was a risk because if it on the cold, you know how cold it was yesterday. It was freezing, -5, -3 all day, and when you have injuries like that, especially to older players, they're more likely to get injured. I'm glad it worked out, but there are some things to mention. The first goal, it was really hard to do match analysis because I tried to watch it on TV. I'm not going out there in this weather. um, it was not just freezing, we couldn't see a thing. Some people sent us pictures from within the stadium. You couldn't see anything at some point. So the goal goes in for the James Justin. Will go, great. What happened? The ball kind of again. It's really hard to do analysis because I didn't really see it. Um, there was a little bit of a shot where he was behind the goal, but it was a good goal by Justin, getting into good positions. And of all the players it could have come to, because there was lots of stick around James Justin coming in, and I'm glad he got his goal. And there were players who were coming out, and they were playing with a little bit of a swagger, a little bit of a style, a little bit of a smile on their face. Considering the last five in a row, I think this gives me hope that we're going to stay up because when things go tough, how do they respond? Then again, we started playing some good positions. In the first 10 minutes, we started to dominate the ball. QPR were kind of in the game, not really penetrated. We did start to take on some good position and really start to impose our game on QPR. Now, QPR, I think the manager's underrated. I think he did a really good job last year, especially watching the Championship more than definitely more than this year. Um, I think Sarmiento did a really good job just keeping them in the league because they were one of the favourites to go down after about halfway through the season. I believe it was Gary Ainsworth before that. Just didn't work out. More of a pragmatic manager, and he's trying to play out a little bit more. And let's give credit to QPR. I think they were good for portions of that game, but that we could see what the team is building. And then Harry Winks for the about I can't remember what it was for the 1-1 where we got our first goal. Then for their side, Harry Winks gives away a stupid goal, and I'm going to stress this because I'm going to mention this later. It's ripping my hair out. Um, we can't keep doing this. We can't keep, and I'm sorry, but Harry Winks should do better. We've talked about him last year, and you can't say that, oh, he's got Premier League experience. He's got enough Premier League experience to get us out of that position. And in that case, he gave it straight to a defender. Defender, I think, passed or one of their attackers in the past third. How poor we've been all season. I would honestly prefer them just to, and it might sound old school and happy clapper, just clear your lines. And yes, it's only 10, 15 minutes into the game. When the pass isn't on, there isn't as we've got an identity, but it's not as concrete as the likes of Enzo. And when you've not got a concrete system, potentially that's where you see the likes of Harry Winks not getting the best out of. I still think he'll come good because look, we know he's a quality player, but that mistake and for the second goal, he was at fault for both of them, and it's just silly in our third where we've been defensively poor to give away that goal. And I just want to caveat with saying Brilliant strike on Varane. I kept, is it Varane? Raphael Varane? No, it's another one. Apparently, it's his half brother. Anyway, um, we should do better with that. Stolarczyk, I don't think does too much wrong. Potentially could get down more, but I just think it's a really poor error from such a key crucial player. If we're going to stay up, we can't be doing that. And the advantage is, I'm glad it's done now in this game. I say that. We've done it in two previous games as well. Stolarczyk had one. James Justin had one. Who was the one before that? Oh, Vestergaard. These the thing is, in the Premier League, you get punished hard, and we're finding out the hard way. And again, not even in the Premier League, in the FA Cup against the Championship team, we got punished from both goals. I don't want to touch too much about the second goal because it's literally a carbon copy of what I've just said. If we're going to stay in the league, we have to take these mistakes out of our game. Um, and then let's go on to some other bits. So again, let's just knock down the head because again, it's so frustrating. And these stupid mistakes will lead us to go back to the championship, and we genuinely can't afford it. One things we get into one thing we could do to try and improve that in just a second. Looking at my notes as well, there was an opportunity before the second goal where somebody puts a ball in again. I can't remember who it was because it was foggy so much. Somebody puts a ball in, and Buonanotte went to shoot, missed it, tried to turn, hits it, tries to put it on target, misses, and then Jamie Vardy misses a gilt edge opportunity to put it literally a tap in. I don't know how he doesn't hit the target. Of all the players on the pitch at that time, about 26 minutes in, I thought it would be Vardy, but not to worry. At this point, it felt like we everything went a bit low. And maybe it was in the ground what I was feeling looking at the team, and it was 1-1, and it felt like they were getting back into the team. QPR started to keep pushing and pushing, and it felt like the game was coming away from Leicester. I think that's fair to say. So if we go to this side here, and it kind of reflected in the overall statistics of this as well. So as the game came down, there was periods. I think this is a bit over, but we QPR were growing back into the game. They scored and they started to get more possession. Were they peppering us with a lot of shots? No. I think Elias Chair was doing a lot of stuff in that second half. I think he was coming on. And I was thinking, oh God, we can't even beat a secondary champions team. I just hope that the likes of even before the game, if James Justin gets absolutely punished at this level, what the hell is he going to do coming into the next game against a Crystal Palace team who's starting to pick up form now? Um, but again, it wasn't to be, which was good. Um, for the third goal, it was brilliant play by Mavididi to win the ball back. El Kanous, very unselfish, makes a brilliant run forward down the left hand side, stops, give it back to Mavididi, and Mavididi puts it in the back of the net. Um, the awareness from El Kanous, because this guy's developing into an absolute monster. To be honest, if we're going to stay in this league, and I would be very confident of staying in this league, we need a couple of them in the January transfer window. If we could get an El Kanous kind of signing, but for the centre back, because and that would help massively. Imagine it coming in place because the problem is the back line of Connor Cody, Walt Fass. We both know they've got mistakes in them. We both know, especially with Connor Cody, he's not the player that he used to be, like a solid Premier League defender. He's still got a mistake. And that's going to be really tough for us. And if we had another one that we could afford, I know there's FFP problems, which is again another rant, and that's one of the reasons why I've not been making much content. Listen, I'm kind of there's a lot of people snapping at the club at the moment, going, "Why have we not signed any players? Why?" And I totally understand that, and the FFP, I totally understand that, and also, I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of falling a little bit because the club's creating distance. I'm creating distance from the club, which is why I'm not doing as much content. And there's no point in me coming here, as I mentioned when I did my demonetization video. Um, I don't feel comfortable just coming on here and just roasting the club. When we come to the end of the window, I'll make a decision. I'll make a announcement how I think the transfer window's gone. Um, and I'll do a video on Koulibaly as well because there looks like it's pretty much. I wouldn't say it's pretty much, but it's a good sign that he's going to sign now. Anyway, um, again for that third goal, Mavididi. again, the jury's out for me. Again, very unselfish, puts it away. El Canoe's fantastic. This dude was again man of the match for me. Incredible. Really, really incredible. He's found his level, not his level in terms of us, but he's shown that he can play in the Premier League. And yes, this was an FA Cup game against a Championship team, but the awareness and also people talk about the his ability to get the ball into to see the game before the kind of see the pass before I'm seeing it or before some of the crowd are seeing it, but also his defensive work, his ability to track back, help out Christensen, win the ball back in defensive positions, and then turn over possession quickly to play other people in. I really enjoy him. And before I've said that I think he was more of a low, like a kind of high eight, and in this he was playing more of a 10. But he had freedom to move where he wants, which I think is good for him. Um, I think that Bilal again is starting to really thrive in this. And that's no more than the third goal. Brilliant work, just a brilliant work through. And this actually didn't involve Jamie Vardy, but it involved pretty much all of so Mabadidi, Buonanotte, and um, Bilal El working together and just kind of passing effortlessly. Um, and I thought it was a brilliant goal. I think it was. We'll get into the wild fast screamer at the end of the game. You've probably seen that, but because oh my God, that was unbelievable. Um, Bilal, I think, is really thriving in this team, and them three, Bonanotte and Mavididi, are kind of linking up really well together for the third goal. And then we're 3-1 up, and I'm thinking, great, this is we're starting to get momentum to the team. Team starting to play again because I had a period of 20 minutes where I was like, are we really struggling against QPR second team? Because if we're gonna if and they kept building, they didn't have like loads of clear opportunities, but they had enough where I was like, oh, where's this going? Then we've got again Winks 3-2, Clanger mentioned it. Gotta sort that out, mate. Come on. Um, and then we're 3-2 at half time, thinking, oh my God, what is going to happen? Because let's be honest, it was quite an even game up to that point. QPR can be feel that quite kind of felt slightly hard done by. Um, Second half kicks off, and what was interesting is the energy and the body language from the players wasn't, oh, we're 3-2 up. They were quite they were like, look, we're better than this. Come on, let's sort this out, lads. Which we need because before they come off at Cooper, their shoulders are slumping, they're all sort of over like this. We wanted to make sure that again things were a little bit better. I think they were in the second half. Um, then very early on, we get a penalty. Jamie Vardy slots it away. Nothing too much to say. Again, it was a handball penalty put away. Jamie Vardy being Jamie Vardy on his 38th birthday. Um, and then 56 minutes, I think, Jamie Vardy should have had another penalty. I don't know how. Some of the refs made some absolute clangers in this game. There was a player, I can't remember who it was, gave away, I think one of their central defenders gave away a ball, hit Jamie Vardy. He contact in the box should have been a foul, should have been another penalty. So it should have probably been 7-2, but again, it wasn't to be. Then he started to make some substitutions. When we go to 4-2 up, Rude's thinking, okay, let's think about the game against Crystal Palace. Let's start to rest some of our players, which is fair enough. He started to bring off Winks for Skip. Well, he brought off Vardy for Daka, and he brought on El Canusi brought off for Ayu. So again, he's looking from that three players that I think are um, pivotal to our succeeding next year. Even though Winks dropped absolute two clanger, sorry, today. Got to get that out of his game. Um, and at this point, I'm thinking, okay, we're going to try and see the game out, play some of our secondary players. But what was interesting is that we swapped like for like, and we kept going. We didn't say 4-2 is enough. And I think that's something that people aren't touching on. We could have said the game's over. Let's think about Crystal Palace. And it was pragmatic to take off some of your best players, take off Vardy, take off Winks, take off El Canus, and save them for Crystal Palace. However, we need to be honest and go. We didn't go, okay, that's it now. That's it now. We're not going to attack. We're just going to sit back, see out the game, and play it around the back. We kept playing, we kept attacking, which I thought was a good sign. The fact that they're buying into the manager's philosophy and they keep going because there's no reason 4-2 is enough to see out most games. We kept going for opportunities. And we scored another goal. Brilliant play. I want to highlight a player again. Winks. Somebody, a player that I've not slagged off. I just slag off the price tag. 25 million for Skip was way too much money. Um, and also, is he going to be a player that we're going to get any money back on? Probably not. Um, I'll be honest with you. He's 23, 24. Are we going to get 25 million for him? And that's probably adjusting for inflation in a couple of years' time. No, I don't think so. So the club have rocked up to clanger again. If it was Steve Cooper or whatever, the club is to blame because the club assigned the players. Anyway, um, Skip did a really good pass. We lost the Christensen crossed it. They lost the ball, and Skip's intercepted, played a beautiful ball through, cutting out loads of players. Dak again got the ball. I thought he held on to it a little bit too long. Passed it over to Justin. Justin gets his second of the game. And it really worked. Again, when Justin gets in these attacking positions, it works. And this is something I want to give Enzo credit for. Enzo tried to play Justin in the inverted right back role when Ricardo wasn't there. Didn't quite work. Where he got a lot of joy was actually in that position, in the high right position. If you notice a couple of them, I think it was against Stoke, I want to say. Um, and we took off somebody on that right hand side. We took off Fatawu and we put on James Justin. And James Justin was running up and down, getting goals, getting assists, etc. from that position. I was like, fair enough, it works. That's why you play James Justin. I think he's more of a right winger, I think, than a centre back, third centre back. And I think this is where we've recruited we'll get into it. We'll say Warrior Koulibaly. Again, I'll have another video coming out on him. I think that's a position that he could play as the third centre back, and then you've got Justin up here doing the running and stuff. I think from what I've heard from the scouting reports from people, he's good defense. There's the clips of him are very like flair and flamboyant, and I think from what I've heard, he's good at the old school defending and the good defensive positions. And then he's good at, again, potentially getting past a player, breaking the lines, then giving the ball rather than him finishing. So, yeah, again, I think that's where he could slot in to allow James Justin to move up the pitch. Now, when Fatawu comes back, I think that's another conversation because I don't think Fatawu quite fits this system. And he potentially will play in Bonanote's position, but again, that'll be slightly different. Anyway, James Justin, really good goal, really good work team goal. And the few of these I want to say are really well worked team goals, which gives me confidence going forward to say we're more likely to stay in the Premier League. Um, and then again, we start and we don't just go, wow, that's great. We're going to try and there all of these opportunities. I think we had 10 shots in total. We could have had more. There was a couple of opportunities where things are slightly off, and we still scored 6 goals. But I think there's more in this team. Um, if you look at this team, you can say, yes, we are at this level, but we can get a few more levels up. With Steve Cooper, we were like, God, we were looking to get that goal, weren't we? God, we were looking to get that goal. We were looking not to concede more. I think the word luck was used so much on this channel before. Um, and the last goal, Wout Fass. Um, wow. He's been knocking on the door. We used to say on this channel before, Walt Fast had an obligatory Walt Fast run where he'd get the ball, drive forward. And I think he was getting closer in the championship, wasn't he? Where I think the closest he got was there was a run that he made in the last game against Preston where he ran through, hit the ball, saved by the keeper, then Jamie Vardy just hit it into the top of the net. Just didn't need that much power. He just like have it, bang, hit it in. I'm so glad that Fast got that. I thought he was actually decent in the game. But the problem is he was one of the best defenders in the championship last season. Um, but I still think that there is a mistake in him. And I don't feel confident with it. Maybe not playing the full 90 minutes, maybe playing 30 minutes or so. He can do well, but the full 90, I'd love another central defender again, this is kind of I'd say it's wishful thinking. I think another 20 million pounds centre back like an El Canouse, but defensively, like a Fofana. Obviously, we're not going to get Fofana, but you know what I mean. Kind of defender that would just elevate our game that much, and then give these players a little bit more confidence. So if Cody loses the ball, you've got him coming and charging and ready to take out a player, etc. So, yeah, I mean. what a finish by him. Absolute. I just sat there like this with the hands on my head the entire time, going, "Oh my God, what a good strike." Um, just stand up and applaud because that's what I've just put. Stand up and applaud. You've all seen the goal. I've rewatched that goal 5 or 6 times, and it's unbelievable. So what does this mean going forward for Leicester? I mean, it's good in terms of there's certain things to be really excited about. Bearing in mind, Ruton hasn't had a preseason. I think one of these with Brian Barry Murphy coming in has made an impact. The game since he's come in, we've identified that philosophy and we've started to implement that more as the game's gone on. And we don't just settle for one or two; we still keep going and keep going, which I think is great. Um, and I also think that, but the problem is now we are dropping into the relegation zone. I think we looked at it last time, where the table is. Um, there are some great bits to be really impressed with, but there are still some concerns I have. And I'm happy with how they're progressing. For me, it's just if we get another couple of signings of good quality that I'm really again another kind of example, a couple of signings that I'm really excited about, more in the defensive positions and maybe like a well, like I'd say one centre back and maybe one right winger, I think would be great. But again, let's see. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe. Thank you all for being part of the channel. Again, I really appreciate all of you that's tuning in, even though these videos um take longer to come out than usual. We'll see you all next video. So goodbye.